All right, get ready because today we are diving deep into some mysterious waters.
Oh, yeah.
Our source found something really strange, a whole fleet of ships hanging out near the coast of Grenada in Venezuela.
Hmm.
But these ships aren't just there for a nice little boat ride, they're trying to stay hidden like a ghost fleet in the digital age.
That is really interesting.
It is. We live in a world full of satellites and tracking systems, so to find this level of secrecy, it's kind of unnerving.
Yeah, definitely.
Our source decided to become a ship detective
Oh, wow.
using this awesome tool called Fleetmon. It's basically Google Maps, but for ships to try and follow these phantom vessels.
Hmm.
But here's where things get really strange.
Okay.
These ships aren't just avoiding radar, they're almost like messing with the digital world to hide themselves.
They're really trying to cover their tracks.
Exactly. To understand how they're doing it, we need to look at the tech they're using, or maybe not using.
Okay, I'm following you.
So we've got GPS, the system that uses satellites to find a location. Most people know it from their phones, but ships also use something called AIS, which stands for Automatic Identification System.
It's like a digital fingerprint for ships.
Yeah.
It sends out their identity, location, speed, all that important stuff.
Mhm.
It's super important for keeping everyone safe and things transparent out on the ocean.
And our source actually brought up the USS Fitzgerald incident. That was when a U.S. Navy destroyer crashed into a container ship. And part of the problem was that the Fitzgerald apparently had its AIS turned off,
Oh, wow.
which contributed to the accident. That just shows how dangerous it can be when ships hide their AIS transponders. And that's a big red flag because it makes you wonder what they're up to. In this case, our source found that this mystery fleet near Venezuela shows up as these gray returns on Fleetmon.
And that means,
Means they're not sending out any AIS data at all.
so they're deliberately hiding who they are.
Exactly. Right from the start, we have a whole fleet intentionally masking its identity. Our source decided to dig deeper, checking out both live and historical data in Fleetmon, and guess what? These ships only show up in the live data. When he looks at any past time frame, they completely vanish.
So it's like they're trying to pretend they were never even there.
It really does seem that way. And our source pointed out that this isn't happening with any of the other ships in the area, so it's definitely intentional. Someone is actively scrubbing this fleet's location data from all the records. It's not just about switching off a transponder, it's straight up manipulating data.
That's a whole other level of sneaking.
It is. And it gets even weirder. At certain zoom levels in Fleetmon, the entire fleet disappears. Like they have some kind of invisibility cloak built into the software.
It makes you wonder how they're pulling that off. Are they hacking into the system or something?
That's what it seems like. It's not just about hiding, it's about actively manipulating the information around them.
Wow, so the big question is, if they're going through all this trouble to stay hidden,
Mm-hmm.
what are they trying to keep secret?
So we have this fleet that can basically disappear whenever they want, changing data, hiding who they are. This is getting kind of creepy.
It is. And the location just makes it even more intriguing. We're talking about the coast of Venezuela, a place that hasn't been the most peaceful lately.
Yeah, Venezuela has had a lot of political problems, economic instability, and even rumors of illegal activities happening there.
Exactly. So having a secret fleet hiding out there raises some serious questions. What are they doing? And who are they working with?
It's like a puzzle with missing pieces, and those missing pieces could be really important.
They could. And it reminds us that even with all our technology and connections, there are still things happening that we don't know about. And when those things involve a bunch of ships, well, it's a little worrying.
Our source mentioned there were about 40 to 45 ships in this fleet. That's not just a few fishing boats lost at sea. It's a whole organized operation.
Right, that's a lot of ships.
Right.
And when you think about how hard they're trying to stay hidden, it seems like a big deal, something planned out and expensive.
So what kind of operation needs that much secrecy and that many ships? Smuggling, secret military training, maybe something even worse.
Those are all possibilities, and it's important not to jump to conclusions. But we can look at what's happened in the past with big groups of ships. Usually they're involved in things like blockades, moving troops, or even helping certain groups in a region.
Okay, so those are some pretty serious scenarios. Given where they are, could this hidden fleet be involved with what's going on in Venezuela right now?
It's definitely possible Venezuela hasn't had the best relationships with other countries. This fleet could be supporting someone in Venezuela or even trying to scare off other countries.
So we have this ghost fleet maybe doing some really important things, but they're changing data and hiding like they're in a spy movie. How are they even doing this? Our source mentioned some pretty crazy possibilities.
Yeah, he did. Remember we talked about them maybe finding weak spots in the tracking software? That's one way to do it. It would take someone who really understands Fleetmon, but hackers could feed it fake info, mess with its programming, or even create those blind spots our source saw.
So they're basically hacking the system that's supposed to track them.
It seems that way. It's pretty smart, but
Mhm.
also kind of scary when you think about it.
Definitely. And our source also talked about something called spoofing, which sounds like something from science fiction.
It does. But it's becoming more common in the world of cybersecurity. Spoofing means creating fake GPS signals to trick tracking systems into thinking a ship is somewhere else entirely.
So this fleet could look like it's anywhere in the world, even though it's really near Venezuela.
In theory, yes. But to keep a good spoofing operation going for a long time, especially with multiple ships, would take a lot of skill and resources.
It makes you wonder how advanced their technology really is.
Yeah, and it shows how technology can be used for good or bad. In this case, it's being used to hide things so people can't see what's happening.
It's like a digital smoke screen covering up the truth.
Exactly.
Huh?
And that brings us back to who's behind all this. The implications change a lot depending on whether it's a country, a private company, or something even shadier.
Okay, so we have some ideas about why they're doing it and how they're doing it, but we still don't know who's involved. Is there anything else from our source that might help us figure out who these people are? Any clues about the ships themselves?
There is one interesting detail our source found that might give us a little more insight. It's about the type of information that's missing, or rather what isn't missing.
So what kind of information isn't missing? It sounds like a clue.
It is. Remember how our source was trying to interrogate the mystery ships in Fleetmon? He was trying to find any little piece of information about them, anything that could tell us who they are or what they're doing. And while he kept hitting dead ends with this ghost fleet, he noticed something interesting about the other ships in the area.
You mean the tugboats and barges he mentioned? The ones that weren't part of that mysterious fleet?
Exactly. He pointed out that barges often don't have AIs because they don't have engines. So it makes sense to see them as those gray returns in Fleetmon.
But he could still find information about them, even without AI.
Yeah. Even though those smaller ships weren't sending out AI's data, he could still find basic things about them in the system, like what kind of ships they are, how big they are, even who owns them in some cases. It looks like Fleetmon gets its information from a lot of places, not just AIS.
Okay, so what does that mean?
It means that if those smaller, less advanced ships can still be identified in the system, even without AIS, it makes the fact that we know nothing about the mystery fleet even more suspicious.
Ah, I get it. It's like they've gone through a ton of trouble to be completely invisible, wiping themselves from every database and source they can.
Exactly. It shows that this isn't just a few ships turning off their transponders. This is a planned-out, multi-layered effort to erase themselves from the digital world.
And that level of effort makes it seem like a really serious operation with a lot at stake. It's a lot to think about. We have data manipulation, possible spoofing a large fleet operating in a volatile region. It feels like we've walked into a real-life spy movie.
It kind of does. And it shows the challenges we face in a world where technology can be used to create these complex webs of secrecy.
So where does this leave us? We've uncovered some pretty unsettling possibilities, but we still have so many unanswered questions. What's the takeaway for our listeners? What should they be thinking about after learning about all of this with us?
I think this deep dive is a good reminder that things aren't always what they seem, especially online. We see and hear so much information all the time, but we need to think critically about it. Just because we can't see something doesn't mean it's not there.
It's like a reminder to be more aware, more careful, and maybe a little more skeptical of the information we're given.
Exactly. This case shows that powerful people, whether they're from a country or a company, can use technology to hide what they're doing. It raises questions about responsibility, transparency, and the balance between security and the right to know.
Definitely a lot to think about. And even though we may never know the whole story behind this ghost fleet, just knowing it exists reminds us that there are still mysteries out there in our super connected world.
And sometimes those mysteries can teach us a lot about the things that shape our world, even if those things would rather stay hidden.
Well, everyone, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the mystery of the ghost fleet. We've looked at some intriguing evidence, uncovered some unsettling possibilities, and hopefully got you thinking critically along the way.
Remember, the digital world, just like the oceans, is huge and often hard to understand. There are still uncharted territories and hidden depths waiting to be explored.
So keep your eyes open, your mind sharp, and your curiosity burning. You never know what you might find.